Hi folks, Chef Ian here, and we're in the Cooks Collective Kitchen 101, and today we're going to be making pumpkin soup. But we're actually going to make one pumpkin soup, but we're actually going to make two variants of it. So anyway, to get things underway, our pumpkin we're using, and I find this the best, is the butternut pumpkin. It's got a natural sweetness to it. You can use the Kent's or Jap pumpkin, you also can use Queensland Blues, but if you want the best flavour, these are the best. So I'm going to be cooking it two methods. Using the Ninja, what we're going to do first though is roast the pumpkin off. And I find that by roasting the pumpkin, you get a more flavoursome soup rather than just putting the cut pumpkin into your stock or water. So we're going to be using today from the pantry at Underground Chef, the Bone Roasters chicken stock, seasoning it off with the Olsen's sea salt flakes, the Spice Lab pepper. I've got some nutmeg and some cinnamon and some honey. So that's basically and a little bit of olive oil to get the roasting underway. So with the butternut pumpkin, you can buy them already chopped in half, like this, in the supermarket, or buy the whole. Very easy to remove the seeds there, and just use a spoon here. It's a matter of just getting it in there, running it around, and getting all those seeds out in one hit. Now, if you've got space in your garden at home, dry the seeds out and plant them, and then you'll have your own little crop of pumpkins growing next year. So what I'm doing with the pumpkin, I'm going to leave the skin on. I'm just going to trim off the ends though, so we don't want that. And I'm just going to cut them into fairly large pieces, because as I said, this is all going to be roasted. So we've got our pumpkin there. Throw on a nutmeg and our cinnamon, our honey. That's just going to give us a little bit of sweetness during the roasting period. Pumpkin soup has been around for quite some time, and I guess I've tasted great versions of it and some that are pretty ordinary. So this one here is pretty straightforward to do. So it's easy to do. So just swirl it around. So all that nutmeg. Now, I'm not going to season this just yet. I'm going to do that after we make the soup up. Okay, so a Ninja. Now, obviously, if you don't have a Ninja, you can do it through an oven and bake off your pumpkin. This is, I guess, where the Ninja comes into its own here. So just okay. Close the lid. We're going to put it on to roast. I'm going to do 185, and I'm going to go 20 minutes. So we'll let the Ninja do its thing, and we'll come back in 20 minutes, see how the pumpkin's looking. I want it nice and soft, golden. So we'll see how we're going. Okay, so the Ninja's finished its cooking. I've actually added another 10 minutes to it, but as you can see, the pumpkin has roasted up perfectly, nice, caramelized. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to lift out the roasting tray in the Ninja, because now we're going to go to pressure mode. So to the pot, I'm going to add our chicken stock. So this is our Bone Roasters chicken stock. Now, obviously if you were making this as a vegetarian, you could just use straight water, but we're looking obviously for as maximum flavour, so we're going to be using chicken stock. Okay, so we're going to put a lid on, seal. This is the second part of our cooking now. So we are now going to go to pressure mode, and I'm going to go 15 minutes under pressure. So the Ninja will build up pressure. It'll cook for about 15 minutes. What I'm looking there now is for that flavour of the chicken stock and the roasted pumpkin to really meld together. So we'll come back in 15 and I'll show you how we're going to finish these soups off. Okay, so the Ninja has finished its pressure cook mode. Just remove the lid. So what we've got there now obviously is our pumpkin all cooked up now. So I'm just now going to put the blitzer into this, just to smooth all this down. Okay, so all the soup is pureed, so what I said at the start, we're going to make two different soups out of this one pumpkin soup. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to split it evenly in half. So one of the things that we talk about at Underground Chef is that we don't want one-trick ponies, and pumpkin soup is a classic one for this. So roughly got about half the soup. So from this one base recipe, I'm going to make two separate soups. So we'll start with this pot first, and I'm going to make, I guess, my traditional pumpkin soup. So I've got some cream here, so I'm just going to add that in. Just remove that for a second. So we just added some cream to it. At this stage, there's no other seasonings gone into this other than what we started with. So what I'll do now is I'll have a bit of a taste. Yep, so it needs a little bit of seasoning, so we'll get our Olsen's sea salt, a bit of salt, and we'll add some pepper. Won't need a lot. It's really just trying to finish this off. Mix that in. So there's our traditional cream of pumpkin soup. Now, I'm going to serve this up. My ladle again. Put that into our bowl. Okay. Now, to finish this off, I'm going to just on slightly a little bit of cinnamon. Just drizzle on a little bit of cream. Some fresh chopped parsley. On one of these, I'm going to finish this off with just some toasted pine nuts. Now you could use almonds as well. Some pine nuts. And on this one, I've got some pepitas. You could roast these off as well. So, that's our traditional pumpkin soup presented with two separate type of garnishes. All right, so what are we going to do with the other part of the soup? Well, that one, we're going to make this Asian. So, with our soup, coconut cream, a little bit of sweet soya, and splash of fish sauce, and some coriander. Okay, so let's mix all that together. Now, I'm not going to season this with salt and pepper because we're going to pick that up through the soya sauce and the fish sauce. I'll just make it a bit easier. I'm going to lift that out of the pan. Again, just a quick taste, make sure. Beautiful. Okay. So, my soup bowl. All right, so that's our Asian pumpkin soup. Now, to garnish that, I've got some coconut. It's just been lightly toasted. Some fried shallot. Now, chopped coriander. And then with our soya sauce, just a light drizzle across. With the first pumpkin soup too, you could even drizzle some balsamic glaze across the top of that as well. So there we have it, folks. There's our pumpkin soup. You saw how easy it is to make. But instead of just making one soup, we've actually created two different versions of it, simply just by changing some of the ingredients at the end and, you know, some different garnishes. So pumpkin soup doesn't have to be this boring soup that, you know, I guess over the years, you know, it becomes a bit blasé about an old pumpkin soup. By just a few little tricks, you're going to make something really tasty. One thing you may have also noted is that the pumpkin, when I roasted it, I left the skin on, and the skin is actually in this soup. Why I do that? Because I'm looking for more fibre in my diet. So it's really important. I wouldn't do the skin on for a Queensland Blue, not going to work. Skin's too tough. It'll work with a Kent, but perfectly with a butternut. So that's it for Kitchen 101 pumpkin soup in the Cook's Collective. A really easy recipe, something you can knock over so well, and then yeah, turn your 2 litres of pumpkin soup into 2 different versions. So you've got a bit of a change up. That's what chefs do. You know, we look at it and say, okay, we've got this base thing, but what can we do to change it? and simply a couple of different ingredients totally transforms that dish. So until next time, we'll see you in the Cooks Collective again soon. All the best. Cheers.